Welcome back, Fantasy Endgame fan. It's Fantasy Baseball, wrapping up another week of Fantasy Baseball. Hopefully, all your teams are doing fantastic. We're going to get you ready for the week ahead. That's what we do. And we start by giving you some of Pierre's favorite two-start streamers. If you are like me, you have realized the power of streaming pitchers. It is almost feels like a cheat code in fantasy baseball. Unless you play somebody like Anthony, if Anthony is listening, who I think just grabbed all the streamers he could today in an attempt to make a comeback. He had like 5 or 6 pitchers going against me. It's crazy that like he has more innings than me somehow. But yes, streaming feels like a big advantage. And if you can get those guys that are starting twice in a week, that's even a bigger advantage because you only have to use one waiver pickup and you get 2 starts. So let's talk about them. Starting with a guy I did stream on, I think yesterday, Jake Irvin. It's pretty good for me. Got me a quality start. He now has 9 quality starts on the season, only a 3.0 ERA, a 1.04 strikeout, or whip, excuse me. Strikeouts a little low, only 69 and 81 innings, but he gets Arizona, which not a scary matchup, and then Colorado, definitely not a scary matchup. So what do you like about Jake Irvin this week?
Not much not to like about Jake Irvin anymore. We've got some questions about him, and at this point, just a strong ad, period. And I think he's one of these guys I think we can say has moved beyond the streamer department. But we're still talking about a streamer because he's still available in basically half of Yahoo leagues. So you could pick him up in most of your leagues. I think he's one that you're probably going to hold on to. Again, he's been great lately. Doesn't mean he'll be amazing to this extent the rest of the season. But now we're talking about 5 straight starts with at least 6 innings. Just that by itself is good, right? Just forget the whip and the ERA and all that. Just we know that has value because that gives you a chance to get the wins and, of course, the quality starts. So he's pitched at least 6 innings and bonus, not giving up more than 2 runs in any of those. So yeah, the numbers are good. Got an even 3 ERA in the season. And of course, my favorite thing, is the walk rate is low. 4.6% walk rate. That's the best way to stay consistent because he's not hurting himself by putting batters on first base. That's something I always look for. Now, the strikeout rate is just okay. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. So you're not getting a ton of strikeouts. And if you are in a traditional category league with uses wins instead of quality starts, he's with the Nationals, right? But whatever. We're talking streamers. We're talking waiver wire. You can't have it all, right? You're not getting the perfect pitcher here. In this case, you're getting decent strikeout rate, not amazing. But yeah, the numbers are really good. This is a guy I don't even know if the schedule matters, but the schedule is not that bad this week. Arizona has been okay lately. And then at Colorado, let me say this again, because I said it a couple weeks ago, playing in Coors Field is not scary anymore because the Rockies lineup isn't that scary. Although the last couple of days, it's been pretty scary, but I think they'll cool off. They got it out of their system. This is a team with one of the lowest WOBA rates in the entire league, so not worried about it.
All right, so definitely a strong ad. He's been on pitching very well lately. And then your next recommended streamer is John Gray of the Texas Rangers. Gets the Mets and the Royals, both at home. It's been an interesting stretch for John Gray. He had 4 straight really good starts, and then his last 3 starts, are they even starts or were they relief appearances? I don't even know. 5 innings, 2.1 innings, 3 innings. His ERA has been good. His whip has been okay-ish, I guess. So what's going on here with John Gray? Are we going to see him get some innings, or what's going on here?
Yeah, this is why if you guys have already watched the most recent waiver wire video, talked about him as one of those strong ads. He's out there in about half of Yahoo leagues because of this. He was owned in most leagues, not everyone. He's not like a universally must own kind of pitcher, but a strong pitcher, a veteran. Again, that consistency, and then a little short IL stint. And he came back, he had that relief appearance, and then that start, and he only went 3 innings. But again, this is nothing to worry about. It's just because he had been used in relief before. They're still trying to figure things out in their rotation. He will be back to his usual workload. So I think a lot of that people kind of worrying, like, what's going on here? Is he going to be a starter? Yes, he's going to be a starter. He'll be fine. So take this kind of uncertainty to your advantage and pick him up. Again, you're not getting a guy who's going to fight for the Cy Young the rest of the season, but you know what you get with John Gray. It's kind of the same you got in the last couple of years, last several years. A very solid veteran who'll get you innings. He will strike out a batter per inning. He can get you some wins if the Rangers, figure things out. They're still a good team. So, yeah, I mean, just a good add if he's available.
All right, so he's your number 2. Now let's go to a not veteran pitcher, a young pitcher who is starting to come on. Tobias Myers of the Milwaukee Brewers. Doesn't have, when you look at on the season, nothing special. 40 innings, 36 strikeouts. That's not bad. 3.76 ERA, 1.16 whip. That's not bad. 2 quality starts, but those were both over the last 2 games. Over the last 2 games, 14 innings, 9 strikeouts. He's given up, it looks like maybe 2 earned runs, and his whip is about 0.5, a little over 0.5 right now over those 2 games, and he gets a fantastic schedule this week. Gets the Angels and the Padres. So is this a guy that you're just streaming this week because of the schedule, or are you starting to pay attention to him maybe long term?
This is someone who just now is getting to be on my radar because, I took him getting called up for not much because he was up and then he was down. And then I didn't think he would stay up because Gasser was up and he was good. And Milwaukee seems set. Now they're far from set because Gasser is probably out for the season. Ross is still in the IL. Hall doesn't look like he's coming back. So they're going to need somebody like him, even with the call-ups they've had. And he's actually been surprisingly solid. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to him because he seemed kind of like a cast-off type of pitcher, just, someone they're taking a shot on, which he kind of still is. I don't think a lot of people realize this is a pitcher who a couple of years ago was traded straight up for Junior Caminero, who is one of the top prospects in all of baseball right now in Tampa Bay. Cleveland's pulled off that deal. And there might be some regret there, but we'll see. Hey, and then he was DFA'd by 2 different teams, including the White Sox. That's right. He was not good enough to make the White Sox just a couple years ago. And now for Milwaukee, he's been solid at AAA. He's been solid in the majors actually too. And so I think that there is some risk here. I acknowledge that, but I think this is a good week to take on that risk because, like you said, the Angels, a good matchup, and then at San Diego, which again these days not a scary matchup. I think I'll take a shot on him this week. He's someone I'm going to pick up in some of my deeper leagues.
All right, there you go. Yeah, only 6% rostered on Yahoo, so pretty much out there everywhere. Next up, we got Aaron Civale. Is that how you pronounce it? Civale. He's got another great schedule this week. The Twins in Minnesota, and then the Pirates. Doesn't matter where you're pitching against Pirates. It's always good. So the good here for Civale, he's averaging almost actually a little more than a strikeout per inning. So that's very good. When you can find a strikeout per inning on the waiver wire, that's always good. His ERA is 5.2. His whip is 1.33. Not stellar, but over the last 4 starts, only eight earned runs allowed, and 4 of them were against Baltimore, which we can excuse. The real downside here, though, is if you are in a quality starts league, he only has 3, and he hasn't even reached 6 innings since like mid-April. So if he's in your quality starts league, you're probably not getting a quality start, but definitely a chance for wins here. And like I said, a strikeout per inning. So how you feeling about him this week?
Good enough. And this is somebody I hadn't really drawn a lot of interest for me. So I will say there's the risk here, and this is not unlike a guy like Tobias Myers, who's still young and somewhat unproven. Civale's been around a while. The question with him is, what is his upside really? Now, he hasn't gone 6 innings. So again, quality starts leagues, I think you can probably just kind of scratch him off your list because he hasn't even gone 6 innings since April 16th. But in the last 4 starts, he's been much better. And again, that one start, if you take away the Baltimore start, which again, this is one of those offenses I feel like, okay, fine, we can excuse that because this is a top-rated offense. He's been good for 3, really good out of 3 out of the last 4 starts. Maybe he's figuring things out. This was one of those kind of boring, I don't want to call him sleeper, but kind of one of these nice draft values. You figure out that this is a guy who could help you and stabilize your ratios. He hasn't. Maybe he's now kind of figuring things out. So I don't love Savali in general, but he's shown some signs of getting better. And I do like the schedule this week, Minnesota and Pittsburgh. So again, if your other options here are taken, I don't mind Savali this week.
All right, now let's move on to another guy who not as valuable in quality starts league, but still brings lots of value to the table. Javier Assad of the Cubs. Again, averaging about a strikeout per inning, 72 and 73 innings, a 2.81 ERA, a 1.24 whip, so doing pretty well for your ratios. But only 3 quality starts this year, and they came earlier in the season. We haven't seen one in a while. But he gets the Giants and the Mets. So again, it just feels like a lot of these guys just have fantastic schedules this week. So you're looking at him more in a wins league, or do you think he can maybe push for 6 innings again in these matchups?
Well, it's going to have to be, because like you said, you're definitely not counting on a quality start from him. I'm very hesitant almost to put him out there. In fact, was asked directly about Assad from one of our guys, Benny Black, which shout out Benny if you're watching, wants to know, Assad was dropped, should I pick him up? And I kind of said, no, you don't need to pick him up. He has been a lot worse lately than he has early in the season. In fact, he's given up as many earned runs in his 2 June starts, his last 2 starts, as he did all of April in 6 starts. So that was mainly one bad game, but still. Overall, you can see definitely trending the wrong way. But I will say he's still solid for a 2-start streamer, and the schedule, I think, is good enough. The Mets are one of those teams lately you just really don't know. Like, they have put up some runs, recently in the last couple of games, but I'm overall not avoiding them in streaming matchups. So I'm putting him down here because if we're this deep and you still don't have a guy you need, then maybe you can pivot to Assad.
All right, and then speaking of deep, let's go really deep. How about a 3% rostered Oakland Athletics pitcher, Hogan Harris? He's only made, I think, 4 starts this year. 25 innings, 23 strikeouts, so that's good. 2.49 ERA, 1.11 whip, that's fantastic. And he does have 1 quality starts in his 4 starts, so there is a chance. But he's also an Oakland A's pitcher, so you may not get any wins. But he does get KC and Minnesota, so again, very, very good schedule here. What's your take on him?
So, again, if you're still looking for a 2-star streamer and all those guys are available, or it's just one of those leagues where, hey, look, there's no way I'm getting anybody who's above 20, 25% rostered. Trust me, I'm in leagues like that. Maybe it's a 15-man league, whatever. Again, you're taking on risk no matter who you're going to stream. Look, maybe Harris keeps it going. He's a guy who really profiles better as a short-term reliever, really leans on the fastball 60% of the time. His fastball's been pretty good, which is kind of odd considering he doesn't really throw it that hard, but he's been pretty good at locating it. He does get wild at times, but he hasn't so far. It's almost one of those things like, how long can he keep this going? So we'll see. I would just, look, I just got to be real with you. I'm not saying, hey, go out and pick him up. You got to start him. But look, if you're getting desperate here, maybe he keeps it going because he gets, slumping now. Minnesota, for the most part, slumping the Twins team in KC. He could get by. He could get you by maybe with a couple of decent starts.
All right, there you go. There's our Pierre's favorite top 6 2-start streamers this week. Of course, if you have questions about other streamers or just other players or whatever in general, that's what we're here for. We're going to answer those questions. But as always, first, I got to remind you, if you haven't tried Underdog Fantasy yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's a great way to get your fantasy baseball fix in on top of your regular fantasy baseball leagues. If you join now using promo code ENDGAME when you sign up, you're going to get a special pick Just a free pick that you can use right away, not to mention up to $250 in bonus cash. And you can see right here, there are still games tonight. You got Red Sox, Yankees. You can take advantage of that game. Oakland, Minnesota. If you're really into, no offense, you can take advantage of that game as well. So check it out. Of course, they have it every day. It's not just every day they have it. They have baseball picks. You can see up there at the top. Here at the top, they have all sorts of sports, even things that aren't sports, like good. I don't even know what good open. I don't even know what that is. Like crazy stuff on here. But hey, if you know what that is, take advantage of it. So again, make sure if you're joining for the first time, you use promo code Endgame. Get that special pick and bonus cash up to $250. All right. It is time to get to your questions. And as always, good segue to let you know, if you don't want to wait, like Antoine, thank you, Antoine, you can drop a super chat and that will get you to the front of the line. We will take your question right away. You don't even have to wait. Or if you just want to say, hey, thanks for the hard work, you can drop a super chat that way. It's not necessary. It's appreciated. So for those that are impatient or generous, that's an alternative. Okay, so he's saying Jeffers alternating. Does that mean Jeffers is not playing the second game of the doubleheader? I'm not sure. Or like alternating days. Not sure what he means there. But he needs a catcher in a head-to-head points 10-man league.
Yeah, I guess he just needs somebody else. Because, Jeffers has come crashing down to earth hard. And he's losing playing time, which tends to happen when you start slumping. So you need a catcher. Now, I will say I talked about last week, some people asking about catchers. We always need help catcher. Francisco Alvarez, I scooped him up. Been a little disappointed. He isn't playing as much, and I know he's coming back about injury, so maybe that's why. Also, maybe the Mets are just happy with Torrens and his defense. Maybe we won't see Alvarez out there as much as we like. I guess for power upside, he's still an option, but I myself am still hoping for Wilson Contreras to come back pretty soon. I don't know if it'll happen before the month is over. But that said, other catcher alternatives. If you're in a 10-team league, hopefully you got good enough options here. Jose Trevino has been better lately. Connor Wong is probably still your strongest option with average, not getting too much power, but he will get you batting average. Sneaky pick here, a guy I talked about a couple of weeks ago when he first called up, and then he didn't play. Well, now he is playing, but at first base. Tyler Soderstrom of the Oakland A's. High-end prospect with the bat, which is why, even though he is a catcher by trade, he's playing first base. Finally, they're giving him a chance for regular ABs. So he's one that I would definitely look at. And he's been pretty good this week. So those are probably my favorite. Wong is probably the safest. Corey Lee for the White Sox, also a decent option.
All right, there you go. And then he's got another one. He's looking to stream hitters for Monday, like just for Monday, or like hitters to go grab on Monday. Ortiz, Joey Ortiz, Andy Pajas, etc. Anybody out there you like?
Well, it depends who's available, but not knowing. But Pajas is starting to pick it up again lately, so I think he's a strong option. I mean, if he's out there now, again, I guess you're saying you're in a 10-team league, so you probably have a decent amount of options out there. It really depends, though, what position you want them for. I will say one of the top waiver wire pickups. It's really it's interesting to see he didn't play yesterday. He's going to play tonight, though. David Hamilton, if he keeps it going, I mean, I think you can still consider him a strong streamer because I don't know that I consider him a long-term ad. I really don't think he's going to keep this up all season. But look, in your type of format, 10-team league, it's a good chance he is still out there. And then Ryan O'Hearn, some of the guys I mentioned on waivers this last week, those are good options. If for some reason Nick Gonzalez of the Pirates is still out there, you've got to pick him up. I haven't talked about him lately because I assume he'd been picked up. He hasn't been picked up, actually, though, in nearly as many leagues as I expected. So if he's still out there, I would definitely grab him.
All right, there you go. There's some options for you. And yeah, definitely check out the waiver wire video. I think you talked about 5 or 6 different hitters on there. So go check that out. And it came out Friday, so it's not like it's outdated or anything. I'm sure the guys are still hot, whoever was hot. All right, Luis Correa just saying what's up. What's up, Luis? All right, P31. What do we do with Kyle Bradish? Was after his start on Friday was placed on the 15-day IL with a UCL sprain. Elbow. Is this going to turn into season over or what?
Look, I hate to say it, this is why I said from the beginning, I'm not messing with it. You said the three worst letters you could when you talk about a pitcher, UCL. I'm not messing with it. I'm not expecting good news. I'm not expecting him back real soon. I mean, I think the best case scenario here is nothing's torn, doesn't need surgery. He comes back, several weeks? He's going to need to rest, rehab. And I can drop him. I'm not going to look back because he's been great since he was back. But now I hate to say, I almost feel like this was inevitable. But again, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. So I'm okay dropping him.
All right. Go ahead and cut bait if you need to. Harry, what's up, Harry? Another Andy Pajas question, or Jackson Merrill to replace Michael Harris, who is also on the IL.
Yeah, and this looks like not a minimum stint either, because they say it's a grade 2 strain. So yeah, he won't be back in 10 or 15 days. I would say go Merrill right now because he is showing some power. I think both are good options, right? Either way, but right now I feel a little better about Merrill. But you can go either direction here.
All right. Good luck with that. Yeah, Kier, what's up? Should I add Jose Siri or Blake Perkins or Wenzel Perez? Gonna drop Ryan Bliss or Richie Palacios or Will Benson. So he has 3 guys he could drop, 3 guys he could add. Are you adding all of them, dropping all of them? What are you doing here?
That's actually exactly what I was going to say. You could probably drop all 3 of those guys. Bliss for sure hasn't done much. Palacios is going to start losing playing time, and he already has. He's hot early in the season. He's not anymore. Benson, I really like the talent there, but just very inconsistent. Siri, Siri's also inconsistent, but he's hot right now. Perkins has been a little bit more consistent. I think he's going to make you feel better than those other 2 guys. And then Perez, I would say this, maybe I can hold on to Benson over Perez. So let's drop Bliss and Palacios and add Siri and Perkins.
All right, there you go. Do it. All right, Rafael Juarez. Trade question. We always like that. He traded Cease and Wu for Jose Ramirez.
That actually might look like a huge win for you because Wu just he's not on the IL, but something just happened. He's skipping a start, I think, and he's hurt. Hopefully nothing major. I don't think it is. And then Cease, talked about him not long ago in the Panic video, and again, he just had a rough outing. I think he'll fix it, but yeah, Dylan Cease, what we're seeing now is not nearly what we were seeing early on. So yeah, anytime you can get a just absolute stud, top 10 player like Ramirez, I think it's a win.
All right, well done there. All right, Jahoni, apologies. How are we feeling about Cade Povich and Pablo Lopez for this coming week?
I still think Pablo Lopez is just set and forget. Just don't worry. I know he's not been great, but he will get better. I don't really look at the matchups. I'm keeping Lopez in there. Povich is different. Horrible first game, great second game. What are we going to get? It's going to be that way. It's going to be kind of inconsistent for him. He's a guy who really has to rely on his secondary stuff to get by. And so when you have teams that are really good at hitting the off-speed stuff, the breaking stuff, that might get him in a little more trouble. It was encouraging to see that he did use the fastball a little bit less this last outing. Hopefully they continue to trend that way. But again, this is not a guy who is even close to set and forget, right? This week, I am not even thinking about it. He's going to go on the road to get the Yankees. No way. No way I'm starting Cade Povich against the Yankees. No chance. 0 chance. So right now, I'm putting him on the bench, and Pablo Lopez has to stay in your rotation.
All right, there you go. Thanks for the question. All right, MP31 again. Spencer Horwitz. You talked about both these guys in the waiver wire. You picking up if you have a choice, you picking up Spencer Horwitz or David Hamilton?
If I have to pick, and again, we're just assuming position doesn't matter. I mean, I got shares of both, right? I picked up both in separate leagues. I think right now, let's go with Hamilton just because he is getting you the steals. He's stolen several bases lately, and that's not something Horowitz is really going to do. So I'm going to slightly lean Hamilton. I do think it's possible that Horowitz is better long-term at, though. A little less exciting, right? Less of a ceiling. He doesn't steal, and I don't know how much power he's really giving you. He's really more for batting average. Hamilton's getting you some powers, getting you some steals. I just don't know how long it will last with Hamilton. So right now, I'll say Hamilton, and then I'll say a week, two, however long, if you start to see Hamilton slump, and especially if he gets moved down in the order, cut bait and pivot to Horwitz if he's still out there.
All right, there you go. Thank you for that. All right, Rhino must be joining us for the first time. What's up, Rhino? Because he wants to know your thoughts on Clayton Kershaw when he does return. And I say that because you've talked about this multiple times, but go ahead and talk about it again.
Yeah, you know how I feel about Kershaw. I'm going to have how many shares of Kershaw?
0.
0.0. Look, not being a hater or ageist or anything. Scherzer, it's funny that everyone's talking about Clayton Kershaw coming back. It's almost like nobody even realizes like Max Scherzer is on the verge of coming back, and he's going to see more action and be in there longer and probably be better than Kershaw. I'm picking up Scherzer now in a couple of leagues and stashing him and see what I can get from him. I'm not picking up Kershaw. It's like, how many times can a guy get hurt before we realize like this is not going to just go away? And again, my real concern here is not that he gets hurt again, which he will, but it's the fact that he's going to throw 3 innings, maybe if we're lucky by August, or putting him out there for like 5-6 innings. Like, no, I'm not going to do that and just play the waiting game. And give me a guy who can actually pitch starting caliber innings in an outing if he's a starter.
All right, there you go. There's his thoughts on Kershaw. Thanks for joining us and for the question. All right, Raphael has another one. It's a 10-team category league. Do we hold on to knuckleballer Matt Waldron, who is still on fire, has not given up more than 2 earned runs over his last 7 starts? He's pitched 6 or more innings in 4 straight starts. He's got Bobby Miller on IL. And he got 3 questions here. Okay, so first of all, are we holding on to Matt Waldron?
Yes, I will say that. 10-team, of course, it's a little closer, right? He's not like an absolute must hold, but I picked him up, 2-3 weeks ago, whenever it was. It was like, he's a really strong streamer. And then next week I was like, hey, he's just good. Let's just add him. And then now it's like, I can't drop him because he just keeps being good. It's like, I can't get rid of him. There's no reason to drop him. He's been good. And Bobby Miller, is he a must keep? Yeah, you don't drop Bobby Miller to keep Waldron. But yes, try to trade. Okay, now Verdugo, no. Don't get overwhelmed by this one big return to Fenway game he had. I have no interest in Verdugo. I do like Jarren Duran. Is Duran for Miller fair? It's close. I feel like it's pretty fair. You might be able to get something else. I mean, maybe Duran and something for Miller. That's close, though.
All right, there you go. Thank you again. All right, Alberto A. What tier of hitter do you believe is equal to Mackenzie Gore? Had a nice bounce back game after a pretty tough start to the week. He was offered in a 1-for-1 Luis Robert Jr. Do I need to go on? Kettle Marte or Corbin Carroll? Oh, but he's the hitting side. So somebody is like, here's Mackenzie Gore. Give me Luis Robert Jr., Kettle Marte, or Corbin Carroll.
I am the hitting side, meaning he has the hitters. Like he would get Gore.
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's what he's saying. Yes.
Yeah. Look, I love Gore. I liked Gore probably more than the consensus preseason, in season. I keep saying he's undervalued. Am I giving up Luis Robert Jr. for him? No, that's not equal. And Marte, no. I mean, Marte has been great this whole year. He's just solid. Carroll is the real question, right? Because now is a really interesting time for Corbin Carroll to be in trades because now all of a sudden he's kind of heating up a little bit. I mean, it's not like Corbin Carroll that we really wanted to see or expected, but let me see. I know he's put together some multi-hit games. Let's see, 2 days ago, 2 hits.
Well, he's got 4 hits over 1, 2, 3, 4 over the last 5 games.
But it does
only one steal.
Yeah, well, only one steal. But look at the runs: 2 runs, 2 runs, 1 run,
Yes.
1. So over the last, let's say, week, 10 runs scored and a couple of steals. I mean, that's something. The batting average is slowly climbing.
Now, does it matter that it was the Padres, Angels, and White Sox?
Yeah, White Sox are always kind of like with a grain of salt, right? I mean, I would say right now you might not regret trading Corbin Carroll for Gore, but you might also regret trading Corbin Carroll for Gore. I would rather
say
trade
right now because I do have Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah.
I feel like I would just gamble on Corbin Carroll if it was me. Like Mackenzie Gore has been good, no doubt about it. But I feel like I can stream somebody mostly comparable to Mackenzie Gore. Now you could probably stream somebody better than what Corbin Carroll's been this year, to be honest. But if he does get back to Corbin Carroll, like you can't stream that. You can't find that on the waiver wire. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That one's close. That one feels close to me.
Yeah, that's the big if, right? It's like what do we do if Corbin Carroll suddenly wakes up and then you're gonna regret it? So I would say no to the first 2. I'd rather have those hitters than Gore for sure. I know exactly what you're saying. Gore has been good. He's been really solid, but he's not untradeable. He's not, not like a Luis Gill, like he's been amazing. If Corbin Carroll's been on your bench, okay, and you need pitching, I think I'm okay doing this. If you don't need the help with, like, let's say stolen bases, if you don't need him in your lineup because you're good, if you just really need pitching, I'm okay moving Carroll if you're okay taking that risk. That would be
all right. There you go. Definitely not the other 2 though. No. All right, MP31 again. Miguel Andujar or Tommy Pham?
I gotta go Pham, and not just because Pham has been, around longer. I guess you want to say around, meaning this season got done more. But hey, he's probably going to go to a much better team soon, right? And he's got to get traded, and he's probably going to go to a team. What if he goes to the Braves, who now also need 2 outfielders? So yeah, I'm going to go with Pham for sure.
All right, there you go. All right, Jaden. It's in a 14-team points league. Traded India, Rosarena, and Christopher Sanchez for Edwin Diaz, Kim, and Clark Schmidt. He says his outfield is loaded. He's got Jordan Alvarez, Corbin Carroll, Suzuki, Nootbaar, StatCast hero. Has Nootbaar caught up to his StatCast yet, or is he still a StatCast hero? Pause. I dropped him a long time ago and never looked back, but that's a 12-2. Anyways, how do you like it? How do you like this trade?
I don't recall Nootbaar doing much of anything. Like he's still got a lot of red on his StatCast page, but he's still hitting 234. So yeah, I think I like this for you because it's a points league. You've got the Diaz, Kim, Schmidt side right now. Of course, Schmidt has been on the IL, assuming he comes back and he's fine. I'll say Schmidt to Sanchez might be comparable. Say it's not a big difference there. Arozarena has been rough, but especially in points leagues because that strikeout rate has spiked. I think I'll say I prefer Kim. And then, yeah, India is solid in points because he does have good plate discipline. But Diaz, yeah, I think you get a little more upside here. So unless Arozarena just goes nuts in the second half, then you'll probably get the winning side of this.
All right, there you go. Well done. All right, Harry Grossman wants to know if it pops up. There we go. Braxton Garrett or Reese Olson for 2 starts. Reese Olson gets Atlanta and the White Sox, and Braxton Garrett gets the Cardinals and the Mariners. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be Garrett between these two, but yeah, Reese Olson has been just he's been lit up lately. I mean, we knew he was going to see some regression, but it's like, okay, enough now. You can stop. You can stop giving up runs. He's been really bad. I think we're just going to avoid him until further notice, but especially getting Atlanta, like, no. If you can start him just against the White Sox, that would be fine. But if you're looking for 2 starts, got to go with Garrett. Neither one is my favorite 2-start streamer. We already talked about the favorite ones, but between those 2, it's Garrett.
All right, there you go. And your Kier, is Logan O'Hoppe a top 5 catcher rest of the season? Did I miss something?
That's overly optimistic. So no, not top 5. I mean, maybe, hopefully he could be top 10, maybe, but yeah, I'm not going to be that optimistic about him.
All right, and today 0 for 2, and it looks like he was pinch hit for. So, yeah. And then Chris is saying Carroll left the game with an injury today. Do we see anything about this?
Well, then I mean, I don't know. Poor taste to trade a guy when he's hurt.
Let's see. Do we have any news on this?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. All right, let's go to Luis Correa again. Started the show off with the what's up. He picked up Heliot Ramos and JD Martinez off of waivers, saying hopefully they don't cool down this week. Yeah, I got JD Martinez off waivers. What a pickup he's been for me.
Yeah,
so I'm with you on that. All right, said with the super chat, thank you.
What's up?
Should he drop Friedel for Kelnick?
I'm going to keep Friedel because Kelenic, really he's playing, and I've even seen him lead off against right-handers. It's out of necessity. It's not because he forced his way into the lineup, right? It's like, I don't know. He's one of those guys, again, if we take away the name recognition, the, prospect status from a couple of years ago, if you just look numbers, just strictly player side-by-side comparison, you're going to prefer Friedel, right? So I'll go with Friedel. Also, Friedel's going to steal you bases more than Kelenic will. I really don't think the power is going to be that different. So no, I'd rather keep Friedel. In fact, Friedel has been really good. The last 2 weeks, I think he's been one of the better fantasy players for you because he's helped across the board.
All right, keep Friedel. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. What's up, Anthony? A little late to the party today. Yeah, you're right on time. Do you think Ozzy Albies will wake up, or is this just going to be a down season for him?
Well, it's probably going to be down compared to what we were hoping preseason, just like all Atlanta Braves at this point, basically, except for Marcell Ozuna. What's encouraging to me is that Austin Riley seems like he's waking up. Last couple of days, he's definitely kind of figuring out, hey, the season started. And then that helps the rest of the lineup, right? You need everybody to kind of click at the same time. So if he's there to, get that run support, that helps Albies. I think Albies will be fine. Maybe he's not a top 20 fantasy player like we wanted and hoped, but it's going to be kind of in between here, right? He'll do better than he's been doing, but I don't think he meets his projections.
All right. There you go. All right, Jahoni again. Yelich has been a great outfielder this season, but the power hasn't been there. Is it time to start looking elsewhere, or just keep hoping second half he picks it up? So I'll just say, as somebody who has Yelich, I have been more than happy with the Yelich. And I even told Pierre, I said, next year, I'm only drafting home runs in the type of league we're in. We're in like a head-to-head. Is it a head-to-head categories league? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Head-to-head, a weekly head-to-head category. I'm like, I am just drafting home runs. But even with Christian Yelich not giving me home runs, I've been fine with it because he'll steal bases. He'll go like 3 for 5 with an RBI and a run. It's like I've been fine with Christian Yelich. But anyways, what's your take on Christian Yelich?
Well, if we're strictly talking power, yeah, I don't know that the power is going to suddenly pick up. So I did go in depth into Yelich, I think it was last week in the panic video, because you look at it like, what are you worried about? The guy's hitting over 300. He's stealing bases. Milwaukee's been good. But when you draft Christian Yelich, and when you think of Christian Yelich, right, everyone still remembers his MVP season. You remember him hitting 40-plus home runs. And it's like, that's not there anymore.
Wasn't he on steroids?
No, look at the guy. He weighs probably less than I do. There's no way.
I thought he got busted for PEDs one year. No, is that am I thinking about somebody else?
Well, if you're thinking about Ryan Brewers, you're probably thinking Ryan Braun. That was a long time.
Ryan Braun. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, with Yelich, I think the power outbursts. Look, without getting too deep into this, Yelich is one of those guys that's very emblematic of the launch angle whole revolution thing. Because when he was with Miami, he was a really good hitter, but he didn't hit home runs because his launch angle was so low, right? Too many grounders, too many line drives. And it was like, if he just lifts his launch angle. And then he did. And guess what? He was MVP. And he was hitting home runs. Guess what happened? It's down again. He's not that guy anymore. And I don't think it's a coincidence. It coincides with peak age, 27, 28. And we saw this. And now, guess what? 30. And it's evening out. He's still a solid player. He could get you maybe 20 home runs, 15 to 20, probably more if he stays healthy, but we're not seeing 30 plus. Like, we're just not. So if you're happy with a guy who can hit you 300, score a bunch of runs, drive in runs, and steal bases, yeah, you keep him. If you're hoping for home runs and like a power outburst, then no, he's not that guy anymore.
All right. Owen, are you worried about Aaron Nola after his last start? He was terrible. So let's see. Aaron Nola last start, a nice 3.2 innings pitched, 8 earned runs, 11 hits. So are you worried, or is this just a bad start?
He got obliterated his last start, but if you look, his start right before that, it's pretty good. So I'm not worried. In fact, if I remember his start right before that horrible start, he went 7 scoreless, I want to say. Let me verify that. This is just one bad start. And in fact, tomorrow the panic video comes out. So I looked like, yeah, man, Nola was bad. And like, yeah, that's the first time he's been bad in like a month. He's been really amazing since then. Look, before that, 7 scoreless, only 2 hits against the Brewers. This is one of those out of nowhere, just bad starts. It's just a total blip on the radar. That's all it is. So I'm not even going to talk about Nola on the panic video because he's not worth panicking about. This is just one of those weird things that happens to even good pitchers.
Yeah, last 5 starts, 7 innings pitched, 6.1, 6, 7, 9. Has not given up more than 2 earned runs in any games. Had 2 games where he gave up 0. 9 innings, 0 earned runs, 7 innings, 0 earned runs. Yeah, 5 or less hits in every game, all those games. Yeah, chalk this up to it. It happens.
Yeah.
All right, Shane Bass. You had him on the waiver wire video, so obviously you think he's worth the stash. But what about Gavin Williams? Is he also worth the stash?
I'll stash him once I actually see him kind of close to coming back. Like, it's taken forever for him to come back. I thought he would be back by now a couple of weeks ago, but he's been very slow to rehab. That makes me worry, right? When a guy's slow to recover. So Baz, obviously worth the stash. Gavin Williams, at this point, let's just wait. And then I want to wait when a guy misses this much time. I need to see how he looks in a couple of starts at the major league level before I even buy into him. This is not Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw. This is a guy who's like one season of experience in pro ball. So Baz, Stash, Williams, you might as well wait.
All right, there you go. Chaco Hernandez wants to get Juan Soto. What's a good, like, what do you got to give up if you want Juan Soto?
Give up the farm. I mean, like, you're going to have to give up a whole lot. This is one of those things is you really have to question, is this worth it? Because what you're going to get is obviously an elite player. You better be prepared to give up some really good players, multiple really good players to get him. So you have to look at your roster and decide, can you afford this? Do you have a surplus of pitching? That's where I would say, because if you're giving up another outfielder or some hitters to get a hitter, then you have to question, am I improving my team? You know, because you might not be. Because Soto is amazing, but he's not, unless you're giving up, which I can't imagine. I mean, maybe you're like, okay, Ellie De La Cruz plus some outfielder, you know, I don't know, Jaron Durant. Okay, you're giving up speed to get average plus some power. Okay, that might make sense because you're helping yourself in that category, right? You're making a strategic move here. Otherwise, you really have to decide, again, what's my area of strength on my roster that I can give up without affecting the bottom line? Because, again, unless the guy who has Juan Soto is not too sharp at trading, you're probably going to have to give up a couple of really good players. So just decide what you can give up that would still benefit you. But be prepared to give up at least 2 like all-star caliber players.
Yeah, going after the big fish. I like it. All right. Okay. I like your icon. Your name is funny. What's the best indicator of batting performance? Batting average, on base percentage, slugging, something else? What do you look at when you want to see, I guess, how is a hitter actually doing?
Good. Very good question. Okay. So what I do is I use StatCast, which I recommend everyone do. Start getting into it. Now, again, you might not have time or desire to do this. Obviously, you do. My face, because you're asking. Go to Baseball Savant, dig into the stats there, or Fangraphs is great too, but Savant is just much easier. Batting average can be deceptive because batting average fluctuates, but also this is a result-based stat. It's what the outcomes have been. It's not as good of an indicator of, let's say, performance. You want to call it that. Expected batting average, XBA, is a little bit better, but again, that isn't perfect, right? This is because Saka says, oh, this should have been a hit. It doesn't always turn out that way. Guys who are faster, right, have more speed, they can leg out things that should have been hits, and they can outperform sometimes their XBA and vice versa. The slower guys, you know, the sluggers are going to be a little bit lower. But I look at expected batting average. Don't just look at BABIP. That's misleading, very misleading too. That's batting average in balls and plays. That's also very misleading. WOBA is probably, or I should say xWOBA, is probably the best overall indicator of performance. That's quality of contact plus strikeouts and walks. And again, plate discipline. You think about strikeouts and walks, you think that as like in terms of pitchers that it matters. And yeah, it definitely does because that affects their whip. It matters for hitters because if a guy's striking out a ton, guess what? Not going to get hits. If a guy's walking, that's good. That's a good sign. That means he knows what he's doing. He's got a good eye, and he's probably more likely to get hits. Quality at bats. Quality at bats matter also. This is another thing. Look, when guys strike out a lot and don't walk, they're not going to be in the lineup as much. So even if you're like, well, this doesn't, what does that matter for fantasy? Well, at bats matter because if a guy doesn't play, guess what? He doesn't have value in fantasy. So look at xWOBA. I can tell you right now, I'm looking at it. Here are the leaders in xWOBA right now. Let's see if these guys are any good. Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Marcell Ozuna, Shohei Ohtani, and Bobby Witt. Sounds like a good list. And then you have a guy like Lamont Wade. Like, what is he doing there? Lamont Wade has been really good this year, except he doesn't play against lefties, and now he's hurt. And he's always hurt. So, okay. But then you have other guys. Kyle Tucker, Fernando Tatis Jr., Corey Seager. So it's not a surprise to see these guys on here. And then sometimes when you see a guy who's like, what is he doing there? Well, maybe you should take notice. Maybe Ryan O'Hearn is having a really good season. We just don't know because he doesn't get as much publicity. But anyways, long story short, ex-Woba.
All right, there you go, ex-Woba. Thank you for the question. All right, Jaden again wants to. Or actually, sorry, Jaden, I'll come back to you. I think I missed Knucklehead Paul's question. Sorry about that, Paul. Thoughts on Alex Marsh and Adam Mazur?
Adam Mazur, you can drop like a bad habit. He got rocked twice. He's probably going to be sent down. You can move on. Alec Marsh has been solid. He's not the most exciting pitcher for me. He's stream worthy, but that's kind of it. So if you need a streamer for this week, I'm okay with Marsh.
All right. There you go. Okay, back to Jaden now. And again, apologies, Paul, for skipping your question earlier. I did see it and somehow went right past it. Jaden, any good first baseman to target as buy lows in points leagues?
Buy low. Okay, so we're talking about guys who are already owns, points league. All right. I'm not going to say Goldschmidt because, yeah, he's not buy low. He's just low. He's just like we're done with Goldschmidt. Do you still have Goldschmidt or no?
I do. I actually start him all the time and whatever. He gets like, sometimes he slaps a single or something. And every now and then I get lucky. He hits a home run.
Yeah. I mean, a little better in a points league, I guess, but yeah, I'm not going to tell you to buy low on him. I think Yandy in a points league is definitely solid because he does have that great plate discipline still, the power. I don't know where it is this year. You're looking at buy low. I would go Yandy Diaz. Maybe Cody Bellinger if you think he's really going to kind of pick things up big time. Again, we're talking buy low here. I think maybe Vinny Pasquantino. You could still get pretty cheap. So those would probably be my favorite buy lows.
All right, there you go. MP31, is there sleeper closers out there? I would just say don't even bother with a closer. But if you want one, let's go for some sleeper closers. He had Yimi Garcia because Jordan Romano got hurt. Now it looks like Garcia himself is hurt. Maybe the universe is telling you don't need a closer. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, look, are there any sleeper closers? Not really, because if a guy gets saves, everybody knows and everybody wants to pick him up. And if they're out there, nobody's picked him up yet, it's probably a reason. But look, I will say this. Start looking. It's a little too early, but start looking at the teams that you think are going to trade away their closer to a contender. Look for the backup, the next guy up. We're going to start talking about this a lot in July. But, a lot of people think if the Red Sox are sellers, which is possible, Kenley Jansen gets moved. That's happened before. Who's going to be the next guy up for the Red Sox? In fact, somebody asked us this last week. I think it might be Bernardino. Maybe. All right. So maybe you stash a guy like that. He's not going to get you saves for another month, but we're talking like stash. What about a guy like Jordan Leeser for the White Sox? Is Kopech really going to be the closer? Is he going to get traded? Is anybody in the White Sox not going to get traded? I know you don't want the guy in the White Sox probably, but he'll get you saves. Like he could be really good. So I'm going to say start doing that. I don't want whoever's closing these days for the Rockies. I'm done even looking. I don't care. Tyler Kinley, Jalen Beeks. Like, no, just stop. Ryan Stanek was getting some saves for Seattle because Andre Munoz was hurt, but Munoz hasn't really, at least not that I know of, unless something happened. He hasn't hit the IL, and I think he's going to be fine. So will he get the closer job back? Probably. I guess if you really want a sleeper closer, you could go for Ryan Stanek right now. I think that's probably it, though.
And by the way, not sure if we saw this. This just came out at about 15 minutes ago. Mookie Betts was diagnosed with a fractured left hand after getting hit by a pitch.
Wow.
So brutal.
That is brutal. That's going to change things. Does this mean Kevin Biggio is their everyday second baseman now? I don't know. Okay. Well, there's going to be some reaction to that.
Yeah. All right. Anthony back again. He says he's smashing the drop button on Nick Castellanos, who I did add him in our league a while back, and I I've started him with some mixed results. Started him today because he has good history with his pitcher, and he was 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. So, are we giving up on Nick Castellanos? Are we done? Are we done with him?
I can't say no. I mean, he's just had a rough season, and I don't really see any signs of turning it around. I mean, you figure, I think I talked about him as Philo a couple weeks ago. He's like, oh, he's starting to kind of, and man, he's just been rough, and there's nothing that shows that it's changing. I don't know why. He's not that old. It's weird how a team could be like one of the best in the majors and still have guys who are doing this badly. Look, Anthony, I can't talk you out of this. Just, I mean, he's been bad. He's not hurting you in batting average. He's not getting you power to make up for it. He's definitely not stealing bases. Like, that's fine. I mean, he could go on a heater, but in the meanwhile, he's probably just hurting you.
Yeah, especially when he goes 0 for 5 with 3 Ks. That's gonna hurt. All right. I feel like we're seeing it. Are we seeing the decline of David Fry? And Uwe2K also wants to know, drop Fry or Adolis Garcia? I think I know where you're leaning here.
Oh, yeah. So you already know. Let's drop Fry. This was inevitable. Guy was way outperforming every possible stat. So you can drop Fry. I mean, he had himself a nice couple of months. This was going to happen. So you can move on from Fry. Don't drop Adolis. I think he'll be better.
All right, and then Uwe2K also saying he dropped Burleson for Merrill. How do you like that?
Yeah, I like that. Look, Merrill's been good lately. Burleson is a guy who had a hot week or two. I'm not keeping him long term, so good move, yes.
All right, Jahoni again. How do you have your pitching rotation set up? Well, I will tell you right now, I do not have a pitching rotation. I have maybe like Kevin Gausman, who's starting to get to the point where I'm like, if he's playing like the Yankees or the Orioles, I'm not starting Kevin Gausman anymore. Mackenzie Gore, I pretty much just start him no matter what. Carlos Rodon, I almost start him no matter what. But I think that's pretty. Oh, Michael King, I pretty much start him no matter what. I think that's pretty much it for me, though. I just stream. I'm like, my whole pitching staff is just streamers. Like, I'm just rolling out rant. I'm streaming a guy. I'm dropping him. I'm streaming somebody. My pitching staff is ridiculous. But how do you handle your pitching rotation?
I mean, well, look, the obvious answer is it depends. It depends on the league. But let's just say it's our league. It's a 12-team, typical, right? 12-team, 5 categories for pitching, which we use quality starts instead of wins, but still everything else very typical. We do weekly head-to-head, so it's not roto. If it were roto, like full season, that might be a little different, but not too different. So in our league, just based on the way things shook out, I'm just going like with the onslaught of starting pitchers. I'm just trying to dominate Ks, quality starts, strikeouts. And I have 2 solid, not great, but I guess for, these days, still pretty solid closers because I actually get some saves. I got Duran and Alvarado. So I keep myself afloat in saves. This week I'm winning saves, right? Get a couple of saves each week. Again, I feel like I just through sheer volume, I'm going to win those 3 categories each week because I like my pitchers. So I've been rolling with like 7 starting pitchers every week and just rotating them because I've been able to get some good pitchers. I mean, I got Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, who I love. Got Berrios, has been amazing in quality starts league. Hunter Green, I love. Fought bad lately, but he's been okay. Fetty picked up, no regrets. And then I got Waldron rolling with him. And then I had Yamamoto until he hit the IL. So I've been happy with my pitchers. And then I stream sometimes if I need to. So I'm going pretty heavy on the starting pitchers, but I think that's the move this year because there are so many good pitchers you can pick up off the waiver wire and stream. Every week, I'm like, how are these guys still out there? It's a really good year to stream starting pitchers.
All right, there you go. And we did get another super chat from Verlis. He just wanted to say thanks, guys, for the great chats and videos. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Verlis. All right, Raphael again. 10-team category league. Okay, well, are we still having Goldie? He's got Candelario, who's been red hot.
Well, He's the guy I really am reluctant to drop, but it's a 10-team league. I don't feel like you have to. I'll just say that. In a 10-teamer, I'm okay moving on to get a guy who's hot. Because I look at Goldie, I look at Arenado, I look at the Cardinals, and like I don't see things changing dramatically. Even if Goldie gets hot, what is the real upside we're talking about here? Is it really more than Candelario? I don't think so. So I think you can drop.
All right. There you go. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Good feeling. All right, James Coffey. What's up, James? In a redraft roto league, would you trade Jared Jones for Garrett Crochet?
Yes. Definitely would prefer Crochet.
All right. Crochet is the answer with the dogs in the background. All right, Jesse. Also in a 10-team league, would you drop Bregman and Gleyber Torres? Are they both droppable in a 10-teamer?
Torres, I think, is the same as Gold. Don't want to drop him, but I will say I can't say he's undroppable. Bregman, I think I'll still hold. He's started to come around with power. So I think keep Bregman for now, but you can drop Torres.
All right, and then MP31 again. If someone dropped Newbar, is he worth stashing? He is on the IL right now. Are you stashing Newbar?
You can. Like he could get hot. I don't know. He just
only 28% rostered on Yahoo right now, so I feel like not necessary. But if you're worried about it, I guess
you can. I mean, there's other guys I might prefer to stash, but it's not the worst pick.
All right, and then Mr. King Vulture, should I hold on to Jeff McNeil?
No, there's no reason. I mean, this Mets team might wind up being very different after the deadline if they are sellers. McNeil already hits the bottom of the order. He doesn't get you power. I mean, you're hoping he hits 300 like he used to, and he isn't. No. In fantasy, there's not really much advantage to having Jeff McNeil.
All right, and then we'll end with this. Anthony's saying you should bring the dogs on the show at least once. Exactly. We hear him, but we never see him.
Oh, he would. Well, let's see. You know what? It's funny. Half the time he's sitting here right by my side chilling, which would be nice if he wasn't out there looking for whatever's out the window. Let's see if I can get him over here, Anthony. You've got like almost wrapping up. Maybe that'll be the way I have to bring him over there. Let's see. Stone.
All right. See if you can get him over
here. See if he listens. Yeah, we're dog people. Chris, I don't know what Chris does. He manages to keep his dogs. Oh, good boy. His dogs quiet during the show.
Well, it helps that my wife is home. Not always, but a lot of times she's home at this time of the day. But also, they are downstairs, and I have the door closed. So even if they do go nuts, you probably can't hear them. There he is. There, we got a.
There he is. That's a good boy. Except when I'm a bad boy. Yeah, are you a good boy? That's a good boy. This is the loud voice that you hear every single time. Super loud. He's the man of the house. He just lets me. He lets me have free reign sometimes. All right, there he is. All right, say bye, Stone. He's like, "What are you doing to me?" Okay. Bye.
All right, there you go. Now we got a face to the bark. A face to the bark.
That dog looks like a Reds fan. Why is he a Reds fan?
What does that even mean? Is that a compliment or an insult? I don't even know. What does that mean?
I don't know. Oh, there he go. Yes. He's on. He made an appearance.
And there you go. See, like you bring him on the camera, he's like, oh, no. You take him off, he starts barking again. There you go.
Yeah. He's like, this is what you get.
This is what you get. This is what you get. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you being on here. Always a good time chatting it up with you. Always, we're all dog. Well, I don't know. I can't say for all of us, but we're dog people here. Hopefully, you're all dog people. I mean, who doesn't like dogs? Come on, you gotta like dogs. And don't forget, we will be back on Wednesday to kind of the midweek.
Good boy.
during the midweek, get you going for your week, get you finishing strong there. Also, don't forget Panic Video tomorrow, buy low, beat the breakout coming out. Just make sure you check that out. And of course, if you haven't tried Underdog, this is the time. Go sign up. Make sure you use promo code ENDGAME when you join. You get access to that special pick plus up to $250 in bonus cash. And if you want to right now, join Underdog and join us on the Fantasy Endgame Football channel, where we will be doing an Underdog draft. So you can come draft with us right now. So, all right, right here, always under the wire, Iwi2K, Mikolas, who had 2 good starts this week after I dropped him, or Waldron.
I told you he was one of my top streamers last week, but yeah, I'm going to go with Waldron. Waldron's been good for like over a month straight. So go
all
Waldron.
Right, there we go, everybody. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah, happy Father's Day.